line out, bag it up.
Hi everyone, I'm Ken Verderami, and welcome to another edition of the Ultimate Steel Shooter, where we talk about all things and only things Steel Challenge. Okay everybody, welcome back to the podcast. If you're a regular listener and if you've just discovered this or you're new to Steel Challenge and found out about it, welcome. I think you'll find this a one-stop shop for pretty much everything and anything to do with Steel Challenge. And as a reminder, if you're new, I've actually been doing this podcast for 4 years now. So you can head on over to Spotify and you can see all 166 episodes if you're interested. Okay, before we jump into today's question, our weekly reminder, if you are interested in my dry fire training system for Steel Challenge, head on over to our website at steelshootbanners.com. It's all one word. You'll see all 8 stages in banner form for training. Also for USPSA shooters, we have over 40 different banners for different training drills. And we have 15 official USPSA classifier stages in banner form. And we even have the 3 official Glock Shooting Sports Federation official stages if you're a Glock competition shooter. You can find all those at our website. And lastly, of course, don't forget my books. Do You Still Feel the Need for Speed? My updated book from 2017, just released a little while ago. 40 new pages of material, updated chapters, brand new chapters, and some new drills are included. And then my mental management book called The Game Within the Game, Mastering the Steel Challenge Mental Game. All these books are available at Amazon Books. And don't forget, these are still the only books dedicated 100% to the sport of Steel Challenge. Okay, enough with the shameless promotions. Let's get on with today's topic. Today, again, is another question from a listener. This one comes again from Chris over on the other side of the world there in New Zealand. I think he's getting me to be his own personal coach, but that's okay. I'm happy to answer questions. Remember, if you have a specific question about anything to do with Steel Challenge, just send me an email at steelshootbanners@outlook.com, all one word, and I will be happy to answer it. And then I will also likely use it, if it's a good, interesting question, as a future podcast. Don't need to be involved. Just one sentence, 2 sentences, whole paragraph, whatever you want to comment or ask a question about, and I will go and we'll talk about it. All right. So his question is one that's, I know I've never talked about in the podcast. I've talked to shooters off and on during matches when they bring this up, but it's an interesting question. And that is, he said, how do you stay so involved and motivated in the game all the time with everything that you do? So this is an interesting question, right? You get a lot of people who get excited about something brand new they've never done before, and they jump in and they get started, and then life gets in the way, or maybe they struggle a little bit. It's not as easy as they thought it was, or a lot of different reasons, and all of a sudden they're not so focused, right? And so the question is how one of those people who, have been doing this now since 2013, training 3 times a week, live fire, dry fire 5 times a week, right? All that kind of stuff. Got my company, do podcasts. How do you stay so involved in the sport? Okay, so I think there are a couple of factors that lead to one's ability to stay so motivated in a sport. Actually, I got 4 different things. So the first one is not something you're going to be able to learn or you're going to be able to teach anybody. It's a personality trait, and you either got it or you don't. Now, it's not the end of the world if you don't have this personality trait, but I will tell you, it certainly helps. And that is, you need to have that obsessive personality. And what do I mean by that? I mean by that, once you decide to get involved in something, doesn't matter what it is, but something, there's no half measures. You're either all in or you're out, right? My personal I had a license plate for a long time that said, "I'm all in," right? Now, it was a poker reference. However, it's also kind of a personality and a life reference as well. Pretty much when I get involved in anything, I'm either all in or I'm probably not going to get involved in it. It just doesn't interest me. And so that type of attitude or approach to something helps you to stay motivated for very long periods of time. Like I said, though, I don't think it's the end of the world if you don't happen to have a very obsessive personality. But if you talk to or look at the background of the world's elite competitors in whatever activity, more than not, they have some kind of obsessiveness in their personality. You know, they're very detailed minded. They can't let little things go, right? They obsess over lots of things. And that's an approach that helps you in problem solving and helps you be very tenacious. And that's how you get ahead. Okay, so that's the first one. The next one is you got to have goals. I know I harp on this all the time. People get sick and tired of me hearing about it, but it's really important. It's one of the ways to help you stay motivated. If you don't happen to have an obsessive personality and you just naturally do that, is to always have goals. Okay. I told this story, I think, in one of my books, that after I made GM, I went through a period of about 4 or 5 months where I really struggled. In fact, I'll be honest with you, I almost decided, I made GM, okay, been there, done that, time to move on, time to find something else to do. Because I was struggling to stay motivated and to get better and just to keep up doing what I was doing. And the problem is I had 100% focused on making GM. That was my goal. And I didn't bother to set any other goals once I was getting close, and at least to me it was obvious I was going to make it. I didn't set any new goals, and so the world kind of ended after I made GM when it came to shooting, right? Which was bad. And so I struggled. When I finally realized what was going on and I needed to start to set new goals, I sat down and said, okay, I got that. Now what? I established some new goals and I started to climb the next mountain. Okay. And that made me motivated all over again. So continually have goals. And as you get close to meeting a major goal, make sure you sit down and think about what's next. Okay. And the other part of this is always have small intermediate goals. Don't just have one goal that says, I want to be national champion someday. Okay. That's great. Nothing wrong with that. But that's not going to happen in the next hours, days, weeks, or months, right? You need to have things intermittent in the interim to keep you motivated. So goals are number 2. Okay. The other thing here, and for a lot of you, it happens naturally. For those of us who live down here in Florida, it doesn't, and you need to force yourself to do this, and that is you need to take breaks from the sport. Don't just shoot and train 12 months out of the year. You will suffer burnout. It happened to me. It happens to everybody. Okay? You need to take some breaks and step away from the sport. One of the things that Laney Bassam taught me when I went and took a one-on-one with him for a week is we sat down and we mapped out a schedule for the year based on, the major championship that I was working towards. Okay. And we worked backwards from there for 12 months and established a 12-month schedule. Well, part of that was after the championship was over, there was a 2-month period. Maybe it was 1 month. It was at least a month, maybe 2 months, where it's like, don't do anything related to shooting. Don't pick up a gun. Don't do any training. Don't do any research. Don't walk away from it and let your mind relax and go do something else that you like to do. Take a break. It is critically important all the time on some regular basis, not every week, right? But on a yearly basis to take a break. Now, those of you that live up in the frozen north, you get to take breaks because you can't go outside and shoot because it's minus 50 degrees outside, right? But you could still stay indoors and dry fire. So do yourself a favor, take a break, right? If you're up in North Dakota, go ice fishing, whatever it is you do, but don't do anything shooting related for a period of time and take a break. Okay, that's number 3. And then the last one here is simply you need to maintain your perspective throughout this entire endeavor. Okay, shooting is not the be-all, end-all of the universe, right? If somebody took all your guns away tomorrow, or Steel Challenge got outlawed as a sport in the United States, the world would not come to an end and life would go on, okay? Maintain perspective, and as the natural ups and downs of the sport come at you, take them in stride and deal with them and continually move on. Okay, now that may seem at odds with an obsessive personality, but it's really not. It is take everything in its proper perspective, put it in its place, deal with it as you should, and then move on, right? If you get to a point where, I'll make up a wild example, right? You've been training for the better part of 8 months, right, for the national championship. You've been shooting really well. Your times are coming down. You're looking at your match times compared to the top 10 from last year, and you're in the top 10 easily and maybe in the top 5. So you're like, damn, I could be national champion this year, right? And things are going well. And you get 2 months out from the match and you have some kind of personal crisis, okay? Something involved with your family, your wife, your kids, and it's going to take a lot of attention to deal with it, okay? And now you get to make a choice. Well, I would tell you, get some perspective, and the choice is easy. Put your guns away, whatever that is. The Nationals will be there next year. Deal whatever it is you got to deal with, and then come back to the sport and move on. Don't make silly decisions because you've let this be all-consuming. Keep your perspective. Trust me, you'll be a way better shooter because of it. Okay? All right. So, again, real quick in summary, 4 things. If you're lucky enough to have an obsessive personality, that will do you well to continue to stay in this sport for long periods of time. Always have goals, both long-term goals, intermediate goals, and as you get ready to reach a goal, make sure you start setting new goals. Take breaks every year after your major championship or whatever your major match is. Plan on taking a break, walk away from the sport after that time, and just let your mind relax. And then always keep perspective about this sport as it fits in the rest of your life. Okay. And that's going to conclude this podcast, guys. Remember, check out my books, check out our training banners, and if you have questions, please send them to me. I will be happy to answer them in an upcoming podcast. And of course, as always, remember, slowing down is never the right answer. Never. You need to learn to see faster.